Joining us now, Charleston County GOP Chair Larry Kabrowski and Democratic Chair Brady Cork-Garvin.
Thanks.
Finally here, guys.
That's right.
Here.
And you guys have a nice short day.
That's right.
Tap, right.
But this is exciting, you know, for folks like us. This is like Christmas
Super
Day
Bowl.
or your
Yeah.
birthday. I mean, this is an exciting day for us, and we're happy that you guys had us on.
We're certainly
we
glad
really
that you guys are
appreciate
here
it.
this morning, Larry and Brady.
Yeah.
Well, we all know that the battleground maps has expanded this year.
Sure.
What do we need to look out for early on today to let us know where this race is heading?
I think obviously the key states of Florida, Pennsylvania, and North Carolina, for us to have a path to victory, I think that we have to win all those states.
And I think
in
where
Ohio.
the candidates were last night,
Right.
leading into today.
Well,
and-
Michigan.
Yeah, well, and there are
Michigan.
states that are not generally in play that are in play this time.
Sure, and I think Larry hit the nail on the head. You know, I think if early on we see that North Carolina and Florida go for Hillary, it's going to be a short evening. Now, if Trump's able to win one or both of those, we're going to have to wait for some of the western states to come in. But it's been an interesting year, and I think what we'll see too is to see how much of the campaign was sort of fluff when they talk about Michigan. I mean, I think Michigan's still solidly in the Democratic column, and that was sort of a last-minute Hail Mary by the Trump campaign. But we'll have to wait and see how those results
Well,
come
I
out.
want to stop you right there because at 6:15 on the dot, we had agreement between Democrats and Republicans. Can we write that down?
That's right. That's
and then
right.
Brady took us
Right, you know.
It was a good day for a while.
That's right.
We had a whole minute.
Yeah.
I will say this, and I think the great unknown is what is the hidden vote for Trump. There's a lot of enthusiasm. Is that picked up in the traditional projections that they do? Because, you know, I've been out on the stump and going door to door. I think the enthusiasm gap is on our side this time. Does that transcend to voters who come out who've never voted before? I think that's why they looked at Michigan and Wisconsin and places like that he's really pitched his appeal there. There are going to be a lot of new people coming out that traditionally haven't voted that aren't picked up in the polls. So I think that's something to look for too. In Charleston County as well, we hope to win Charleston County. This is the last chance we have, and from my perspective, that you seldom get an opportunity in life to say no to political correctness and all that stuff. So if people care about that, they have a real chance to make that statement today, and we hope that happens.
And I think here in Charleston County, it'll be interesting. You know, for much of the 90s and early 2000s, Charleston County was a Republican county, and the last 4 cycles, it's gone Democratic. So Charleston voted for President Obama twice and rejected Nikki Haley twice. But by slim margins. So today will be really interesting to see how that shakes out here in Charleston County, and something both Larry and I are going to be
we also
watching
agree
closely.
very much on that because it's a day of a lot of excitement for
Wow.
both of us.
Another day.
That's right.
Now, you
Because
know-
it's a big day. We really don't know. And I think from talking, it'll be an exciting day to watch. Where's Charleston County?
Right.
It's in a state of transition. Is it going to go for Trump or Hillary? Is it,
It'll
it's
go
been
for
one way. Well,
Well, you know what? Earlier in the process, we saw those polls coming out of South Carolina where it appeared that it was tight.
Right.
Sure.
What is your prediction?
Well, I think part of what that has to do, particularly here in Charleston County was one of only 2 counties in the Republican primary that rejected Trump. So even Republicans in Charleston County said they didn't want Trump in their primary. So I think you're going to see a depressed Republican turnout. There's a lot of Republicans who can't bring themselves to vote for Trump, and that's what gives Hillary Clinton, a chance statewide. She'll do really well here in Charleston County, but that's a lot of what I think, provided those poll results is Republicans who couldn't tell the person on the phone or don't want to admit that they're fans
Go
of
ahead,
Trump.
Larry, we're short on time.
I think that we will find that Trump will win Charleston County because there's unsurpassed enthusiasm. And I remind people that we had 15,000 more people vote in the Republican primary in Charleston County than the Democrats had, which was a reversal from 4 or 8 years ago when they had 15,000 more. So I think the enthusiasm is on our side, and though Trump didn't win Charleston County, he did very well in our primary. And I think the enthusiasm and you see that in the early voting, is something like 65% more this time. I think that's a continuation of the enthusiasm gap
Yeah,
from the
dramatically
primary.
large number
Yeah,
of
it's huge.
absentee ballots
Yeah.
compared to
It's huge.
just
Well,
4
Larry
years
and Brady,
ago.
at least we got you to agree at least.
That's
twice,
right.
And some
Two
things,
agreements.
That's
yeah.
solid for
Yeah,
before
yeah,
7
yeah.
a.m. That's
Guys,
good.
good to see you.
very much.
Thanks so much,
tonight.
Brad.
Thank you
Appreciate
guys
it.
so
And
much.
thank you so
Okay,
much
Dan.
for having us.
Sure.